the Challenger Series. So they've been a team that has been known for quite a while now, especially Sinquan. That name is really familiar with the players. Sinquan has played really well in the previous season, but there was one period of time when they were still like PH Alliance or even Synchros, when they kind of were off form. It was that season where they kind of pulled out from the competitive scene, went underground for a little, and then came back stronger, which we've seen as Brenchong. So, I'm excited going into this match between the second lowest seed in Vainglory 8 and the top team in the Tesseract Challengers and series. I must agree with you that, they probably had done their homework. They know what to expect. They know, the comms that, the teams will be bringing out. So they would probably, just play to their strengths. And of course, I'm just excited to see whether or not they can sink C1 on this player, firstly. And of course, whether or not Brenchong can just take down one team in a best of 5 from the VGA.
Yeah, this will be a best of 5. Brenchong having to win 3 games, and so do Ciao 7 in order to win this series. But the draft is ready. So without further ado, we are going to go into the draft.
The draft begins.
We are into the draft at this point in time, and we do see though, there has been a lot of prioritized ban, especially on that of Baron. Before Sync 1 actually went on a short hiatus, Sync 1 was known for that, Sky being picked up. So whether or not would you think Sync 1 will bring out the Sky? But before that, we do see an Idris, the first Idris being banned out as the first ban.
Yeah, Idris is so strong. If you want to play Baron, if you want to play Vox, if you want to play any of them, you're pretty much countered by Idris if Idris plays it correctly. We've seen people can pretty much survive by playing only Idris as long as it's not banned away. And I think Baron's most likely banned, and then Grace will be picked up. But they might leave Baron open and try and counter it maybe with a Black Feather, or it'll be risky because you have to pretty much put your whole composition to just try and counter Baron. And so I think they might as well just ban it away and not risk giving it away and not being able to counter it, because he is extremely hard to try and counter.
Yep, definitely, I do agree with you. I do not want. Honestly, it has been a while since Baron have been played, so I don't want Baron to be banned out per se. I know
you want to see it. You want to see it. You want to see it played today.
Yes, I don't want him to be banned out. But then it's just a part of me that because Baron hasn't been played a lot. It's like last week when Idris has been constantly banned out for every single match, and when we finally do see an Idris, we see him just the reason why he's banned out. So honestly, a lot of teams out there haven't quite given us the reason why Baron should be banned out in Southeast Asia. Yeah, because a lot of teams out there, although they pick up that Baron, but then they don't play it quite well. I mean, there are a lot of teams in VG8 that has allowed the Baron through, and a lot of times, like there was this game with an Ozo being picked up, and Ozo just went through Baron as well. So honestly, Baron maybe it's difficult to counter. He's a very strong hero, but I think that there's still space to counter and check him if played that hero well. Like say that Ozo, that you can out sustain the damage coming up from Ozo. If not, then like you said, Idris. But then in this game, of course, we did see an Idris being banned out. So the side of Ciao 7 probably want that Baron. And in that case, then if not PH Alliance, but Brenchong do ban out that Baron, then of course it will spoil the team coming out from the side of Ciao 7. But then there's one thing as well, we banned out Idris generally because we want to pick up that Vox as well. So Vox is one of the priority pickup, and then of course you ban out that Idris because Idris just counters Vox in the late game. And they are taking the time now, they are running into their 60 seconds bonus time. 1 second left, we might see a restart. So draft is paused, draft will be restarted.
Yeah, it's probably a slight connection issue for Brenchong being. I think they're probably unable to ban. I don't think they need a full 2 minutes to think about what to ban. They probably know what they want.
Definitely.
I think Baron makes a lot of sense, but I also wouldn't be surprised if you see maybe a healer ban, so maybe a Lyra or Grace. because then obviously Lyra, Grace, Baron are the three main heroes that we've seen the most emphasis on throughout all the matches, no matter what the teams think are strong. We've seen Lyra, Grace and Baron as a priority. So it's unlikely that you're going to be able to pick that after the second phase of bans. So they want to ban one of them away and then be able to guarantee that they get, say you ban Lyra and they pick up Baron, you guarantee to get yourself a Grace or to get yourself one of those three strong picks. So I think it would make sense to, if not ban one of them now, then ban one of them in the next phase of bans.
Yeah, but there's one thing that we realize throughout today is that no one has quite prioritized that Grace, although Grace is such a strong pickup in this current meta. She scales so well into the later part of the game. In the early game, she has that damage. In the mid game, when she has the level 6, she has the sustain, that burst of heal. And of course, the damage reduction when you don't even buy any items, the 40% damage reduction from the Holy Shield, it's just so trustworthy as a frontliner, Grace as a hero. So I'm quite surprised why Grace hasn't quite been prioritized so far in the game. In fact, we do see a lot more Lyra being led through, and not even a single Grace being let through or even banned out. So, like you said, I must agree with you. I'm not surprised if Idris and Baron will be banned out in the first phase of bans. And then, of course, then it's down to the side of Ciao 7 to pick up that Vox, because that is just another reliable laner, a weapon, a part laner for the in this current point, in this current juncture. So Vox being picked up on the side of Ciao 7, and of course in response to that, there are a lot of picks out there. Yeah, you can go for that Ringo, although not commonly seen, but then Ringo is a viable pickup at this point in time. Or even that Gwen, the tension board, the early game that you can crush your opponents with, just snowball with that. Oh, we are going to see a Vox being banned out.
So it's likely we're going to see that ban that you wanted. I think Vox is a smart ban, because obviously banning Idris means you probably want to pick Vox, and so they're going to say, okay, you're not going to be allowed to pick Vox, we're going to ban it. And now they weren't expecting that. I'm pretty certain Ciao 7 were expecting, okay, we'll get ourselves a Vox, whatever they ban, and so it's just been banned away from them. So they're thinking, do we want the Baron? Do we want the Lyra? Do we want maybe Grace? I think they're going to have to counter a preemptive possible Baron counter, because Catherine Stormguard is really good at reflecting Baron's damage. Looks like we might not be seeing the Baron. It's probably just going to be banned or maybe not even picked. I think the reason we didn't see Grace, and we're unlikely to see Grace in this game as well, is because maybe Artisan and Divine Aurora weren't comfortable playing Grace.
Yeah.
And similarly, maybe Ciao 7 and Brenchong are both teams they don't want to play her. They think she's a really strong hero, but if you can't land your Holy Nova, if you can't use your Holy Shield correctly, you're actually quite a squishy hero. So you need to be careful with that. You need to be able to land all of your stuns and get the shield at the right time, or else it's not the best captain. Whereas Lyra, being available for much longer, is a much easier hero to play in a way, because you just wait for them to dive in, right bulwark, and heal your team whenever they need it. Yes. So I think they're definitely more comfortable playing Lyra. Samuel Ban, another strong hero that they want to get rid of. I don't think those are particular Baron counters, so it would be interesting if Brenchong do pick up Baron, because Kessler is a pretty good Baron counter, so they definitely could. They definitely could right now.
Well, yeah, and there's one thing about Samuel bans. I mean, I understand Samuel as a target ban, but honestly, looking at the current meta and the shift in meta in 2.6, I don't think Samuel is that strong as compared to, say, a Celeste or even a Scarf. Per se, when you want a range crystal, when you want a range mage placed in the jungle. So I would prioritize Scarf and even Celeste, but never Samuel. So unless this is target ban, I think it is a wasted ban on my part. But honestly, that like you said earlier on, they probably had got a team comp in mind, and Samuel probably hard counters the team comp. We do finally see that Baron being picked up on the side of Brenchong. Like, you hear the elation in my voice. I am honestly very happy. And of course, if this is a Crystal Ringo, if this is a Crystal Ringo to counter that Baron, I think
it should be weapon. I think it should be weapon.
I hope to see a weapon Ringo, but we've seen it before, time and time again. Although we've kind of said and denied its existence, we tried to, and time again we do see a Crystal Ringo comes up, and hit and miss. Sometimes it does well because reflex blocks are used, and a lot of times your damage is just coming from the Hellfire Brew to try to burst down that Baron. But honestly, in that channeling time of yours, I'm pretty sure Baron can just jump jets in, take you down in 2 or 3 basic attacks. So I hope to see a weapon Ringo as well, as you said. But it's just down to the last pick. Yeah.
They're gonna go for Batista. That's gonna be a weapon Ringo, which is a smart decision. The reason why weapon Ringo works so well into Baron, even though you might not expect it, because Baron's all about bursting you down in 2 hits and making you run away. So that then you just wait to see that either it's another basic attack or 2, or jump jets again to kill you. Whereas Ringo, what he does is he basically just, okay, you're going to hit me twice with the jump jets, I'm going to tank that, and I'm going to kill you before you can kill me. As he goes for full damage, Celeste, great against Batista, that's a good pick. I think Baron Celeste comp will work well, but it might be invaded in the early game, so that is the risk that Brenchong are facing. They have Lyra to try and help Baron in the lane, but Batista could just invade the Celeste. Level 4 Batista is really strong. But with the Ringo, he'll stand in range of Baron. If he gets his Twirling Silver, maybe a killing shot to just try and slow Baron down, get 4 or 5 basic attacks in the time Baron gets 2, then you'll kill Baron before Baron kills you. And from there, you're in a 2v3. They've lost their damage dealer. Obviously, you can't just ignore Celeste, but I think Ordained will do well enough to get her killed by Ringo. So it's all about, can Ringo farm up? Can he get 4 damage items and just beat Baron in a 1v1? It's possible, but it's not going to be easy.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, we've seen a weapon Ringo. It's played by one of the VG8 teams, and it came out spotless. Yeah, the Ringo just tanked up, like you said, 2 shots from Baron, even a 3rd shot, and then just burst the Baron down. And it's just a different kind of gameplay, because Baron generally do not build a lot of defenses, or even just settle with 1 slumbering husk, if not reflex block. Or even we saw a Baron that went up against a Crystal Ringo, and that Baron went with Crucible. So so that's a clever pick from the Baron. But anyways, just in this game itself, if Baron were to be in a 1v1 with Ringo would definitely come out on top, as long as Ringo can stand his ground, like you said, and just continue firing out damage onto the Baron. Else, Baron would be forced to pick up defensive item against this Ringo, and definitely just damp down the amount of damage that Baron can output with his current build of Double Tyrant's Monaco, Sorrow Blade, and of course that Tension Bow.
Yeah, I think if Baron is forced to go 3 damage items or 4 damage items with no reflex block, then obviously he's forced to use jump jets as a block, which is all right. You can use it as a block to get out of the Ordained. That's not much of a problem. But you don't want to be constantly just jump jetsing to block, because that kind of forces you to fight when Ciao 7 want you to fight. Because if they're going to Ordained when Batista's ready to fight, Baron has to either jump jets away and waste the double shot, or jump jets in when Batista's ready, when Ringo's ready. So I think Mr. Jim's going to be forced to build a reflex block on the Baron so that he can jump jets when he wants to, and then that means he's not going to be able to get defense on Ringo, or else he won't do any damage. But then again, even though Weapon Ringo is a great counter to Baron still, once he gets his Sorrow Tension Bow, early/mid-game power spike, he's going to beat Ringo in a 1v1, because Ringo can't burst Baron down at this point, but Baron can burst Ringo. And until Ringo gets himself a reflex block and a little bit more health, that Tension Bow will really hurt Ringo, and that will be the point where Baron can actually turn this game around and start snowballing.
Well, yeah. And one more thing, we do actually see that DRDC on this Ringo picking up the tier 1 armor, and of course a weapon blade. But on the side of Mr. Jim, just picking up 2 weapon blades just to help out the clear and the possible poke that will land on DRDC. So I think it's just different pickup from 2 different laners. And honestly, because Baron do not utilize defense at all, and it's just down to how you're positioned in the team fights, then of course going double weapon blade would be a much cleverer, more intelligent choice. And of course with that, you have a 1-up over DRDC on this Ringo as well. So like you said, it is down to execution and how well they can pull off the team comp, and whether or not Baron can keep himself in a safe distance away from this Ringo and yet be able to take down the other carries like say Batiste and then eventually move on to Ringo, because in a 1v1 Baron would Ringo would definitely win if Ringo has got the health, like you said, a reflex block, and just look at the amount of damage.
The boss is going to go with the Mercy's Pursuit, make sure he pops his Storm Guard so that Mr. Jim, if he double shots on Simmonster, will probably kill Majin on this Lyra. I've got another Imperial Sigil, going to get not too healthy, Lyra actually with no health, with an energy battery to get his, to make sure he can keep using the Imperial Sigil. Means that the heal won't be that significant, but it will be up an awful lot, and Lyra importantly won't run out of energy, which is a problem often faced by Lyra. She can heal really well, but then she runs out of energy using just basic attacks and Principal Arcanum. Simmonster going to try and get a basic attack onto Mr. Jim, not quite, going to let him port home, work towards that first Solar Blade, and Duckman 2K going to boots away, going to get stunned by the core collapse, but still will back away, and DRDC rotating down. Sync 1 is going to get Logan as boots away, and Ciao 7 just going to back off. Good rotation from DRDC on the Ringo, not missing much CS in lane, and making sure that Duckman 2K was able to survive. Mr. Jim always going to jump in for DRDC, shows himself at the wrong time. Boots by Mr. Jim, he's going to get the kaboom onto Ringo. Water slow, and that was good damage from Mr. Jim, forcing Ringo to port home, get health, and yeah, good. He used the port home mortars there, like as soon in between basic attacks when he couldn't do a basic attack because it was still the animation was still on cooldown. He's used his port home mortar to slow Ringo to make sure that he couldn't run away, even with that 12 in silver. So really, really smart from Mr. Jim. Problem with that idea is he will run out of energy very quickly. So he's now forced him to port home. Still working towards Solar Blade. I think he might get an energy battery, but actually just really wants to get that Solar Blade as soon as possible. And DRDC is going to happily farm in lane, and everyone's backing off. Duckman 2K not invading since he won in the jungle. Just he wants to get his items.
Well, we are seeing Mr. Jim on this Baron actually picking up the tier 1 armor for this Ringo. Probably understanding and responding it as a threat, this Ringo. I mean, the early game damage from Ringo is insane, yeah? We must all agree, and we do all agree on that. The early game for Ringo is insane because of how his proc works, yeah? For every few seconds, he has, you know, empowered basic attack. And that's why it synergizes so well with tension bows in several patches back. So I do understand why Mr. Jim is just picking up that early game defense. It's just a form of respect for Ringo's damage. Very good core collapse coming out. Oh, Merciless
going in. Merciless Pursuit gonna land, but he's used that. So, and that's a little bit ordained to be stunned out of by the core collapse to Sync 1. Duckman 2K is gonna be able to get away just about. Mr. Jim jumping in. Not enough damage to the DRDC to get him low, so he's going to be able to farm up under turret. And since he won, going to port home. No, he's just going to fake it. Mr. Jim wants to get onto the RDC. Duckman 2K getting a nice ordained onto Majid. Going to get a stun from that, and Sim Monster is low. DRDC is actually quite healthy from the regen, and so again, they're just going to port home. They don't want to fight. They're just going to back off and. Just going to make sure they don't overextend too far. Baron's now picked up his Solar Blade and minions first, so he's got that counter crit. And Ringo's going to go in, lots of damage onto Majin. He will not be able to get away. As the first blood over to Ringo. Good ordained from Duckman 2K to get the guaranteed stun or guaranteed kill onto Majin, because if he didn't run away through the stun, he would almost get the kill, but he's going to go very low to Heliodens's and back damage from Baron. He's going to go damage on the Majin, but Supernova from Celeste. He's not going to be able to dodge that. Duckman 2K is going to try and port home just barely. Dodging the Solar Storm. Mr. Jim wasn't expecting him to be there, didn't get the double shot off. Batiste with a very greedy port. I love to see a greedy port home. Do it all the time. It's just fantastic. And he prevented the... it wouldn't have been an ace, because I think Sim Monster did manage to get away, but prevented the double kill. And DLEC level 4 has an infusion in the pocket, just ready if a fight does break out. So that's something to note, that Ciao 7 are ready for a fight if Brenchong do decide to go in.
Well, yeah, and then we do see that Minions putting in so much damage for Mr. Jim with that double shot. I mean, just we saw how fast Duckman 2K's health just disappear into nothingness, followed by the RDC. Both of them actually do have their Sorrow Blade right now, but what is differentiating them is Mr. Jim has got a little extra creep, and of course 6 sins building towards the first Tyrant's Monaco, and of course both of them has got an infusion in their pocket. Ringo will be going for the sustained pot, probably a poison shift, and that kind of puzzles me because you really just want to out damage that of Baron, because you cannot sustain with a Baron at all. So maybe an itemization,
it's built because of they're against the Lyra. So if you're up against Lyra, you want to either have someone like Attacker or a Rona who has mortal wounds, and let's do this stun on the magic. It's going to block, but not going to get stunned by the Ordain. And Batista's going to fall to the Ion Cannon, and he does this from Sync 1. Now DODC is going to just back off under his turret. Ciao 7 really can't do anything. Brenchong have got their 2 carries, and DODC really is going to try and farm up the jungle, farm up his wave, sorry. But Sync 1 going to get this turret. Actually, going to go on to DODC to make him stop farming the wave, and that will be the first turret for Brenchong. Mr. Jim going to be hit by the Hellfire Boom without a block, and he's just going to farm this wave and then port home. There's the Solar Storm. A little bit wide. Let's tried it a couple of times. They've both been a little bit wide, but would have picked up kills if they'd connected. I think Mr. Jim did really well there to jump in, get the kill on Stuckman 2K, and then they didn't go for the dive the turret to get the kill. They went to kill the turret, and that's a nice gold lead. About 2K for Brenchong.
Yeah, we do see Mr. Jim got that sorrow, that tension board now, and it will pose a problem for DRDC very soon if he doesn't pick up extra health. So, you know, honestly, that's why I say it's an itemization problem. It's whether or not you prioritize your poison shift because of Lara's healing, or you want to play and build accordingly to the hero that you like to, say, counter. In this case, Mr. Jim is
caught out. He's going to use Arcane Passage and get stunned by the Ordained. Marshall will be okay. There's the jump jet. Stuck with 2K, taking a lot of damage. He's empowered, so could go in. Doesn't want to bounce and use. Bring on the back. That's 556 damage onto Sync 1. Core collapse. Not going to land. That's the blast jump. Will be blocked up, but will pick up the kill on Celeste. And that's Mr. Jim jumping in. The only C going to take the damage, but lovely Storm Guard from Sim Monster. Reflect that back to Mr. Jim, and this may be a second turret. Ringo had to port home. Catherine can't do anything. Duckman 2K is going to come back with the Fearsome Shade to try and stop this turret. And he's going to definitely try it. He's not. He's just going to let the turret fall. No, Baron's actually going to decide, I'm not going to die for a turret. I'm just going to leave it on a slither of health, because 1 minion push, 1 kill, and we can take that turret down. So I'm not going to die for it. My infusion's about to run out, so I'll just wait, port home, and work towards that next tyrant.
Yeah, but that turret is just 1 ion cannon away. So, you know, Mr. Jim can just back off, can just go back, build the first Tyrant's Monaco, and be assured that the turret's gonna definitely fall, unless, of course, you know, the side of Ciao 7 is prioritizing that turret for a lot and just wanna keep it safe. But else, we do see, though, if the side of not Synchronous, Brenchong gets just a little bit overextended, then they definitely would, Ciao 7 would definitely have that advantage, because both of them, all 3 heroes there on the side of Brenchong, they are very, very squishy, whereas on the side of Ciao 7, they might be looking for an engage right now, but they might just back off.
They just want to push the turret. Mr. Jim wants to get double shot onto DDC. It's going to go very low. There's a bit of shade to just make them back away. And the ODC is going to immediately port home to get more defense on Baron. No, he's going to actually get an infusion, which I guess counts as defense. You get a armor and shield from that infusion. He's going to use Iron Cannon to try and get the ODC. Doesn't quite land. And the ODC has got his 2 items. Baron's got 2 and is working towards the 3rd. Can pick up talents when he shops. And he's going to block that. It's actually not going to, and that will be the last one, will be blocked. He's going to go very low. Now, 1 more shot would do it, but he's going to get Catherine instead. DRDC going to use that. Twirling's in to try and get away. And Duckman 2K is going to take the double shot instead, because Mr. Jim couldn't get onto the RDC. And it's a siege on the turret for Brenchong. I don't think we're going to stop it. There's the Arcane Passage in. The RDC is dead. There's nothing to do about that. Duckman 2K with the dodge and core collapse. won't be able to stop those Helios, and Simmons is going to try and do what he can and get a stun onto Mr. Jim. Mr. Jim's going to wait, double shot. The critical strike is enough to get the kill on the Duckman 2K. Simmons is going to try and do what he can with that Storm Guard reflect damage of Mr. Jim. Going to port home. He's got 3k gold. This is a situation that you should not be in, Mr. Jim. You want to run, yep. He's going to preempt the core collapse by Sync 1, and Mr. Jim really wants to port home. He can get a Tyrant's Monocle. Sync 1 won't be allowed to, though, with no energy. Simmons is just being really annoying to stop him from being able to port home. And that is a Tyrant's Monocle and a bit more boots picked up by Baron. So we saw that Ringo was getting bursted down really quickly. He's picked up a bit of health now. It's a good idea. If you're going to take 400 damage, at least make it so that isn't half your health.
Yeah,
Baron with that another Tyrant, it's gonna be tough. Ringo has not got the gold lead at all. Baron's taking a little bit of Celeste jungle. We see Celeste is actually doing quite well on 58, but Mr. Jim 133 CS doing extremely well. So he can pick up another infusion, and Ringo will not be able to out-damage Baron at the moment. Ringo needs to get 4 damage items compared to that Baron's 4. Baron has 3, Ringo has 2, one of which is poison shivs. That doesn't really count. That's more for attack speed and a bit of sustain.
Yeah, it's really just for that utility for poison shift, honestly, because if you think about it, like I said earlier, if Ringo match stat for stat onto this Baron, then they might see a chance. They might have a chance of countering this Baron. A problem with Ringo going for this very sustained build is that his stat doesn't quite match up with Baron's stat. So even if you have that mortal wound, even you have that little bit more sustain as compared to this Baron, you just cannot stand in a 1v1 confidently with him. And that really is just
the arcade passage going in, and the bright bulwark fist is shaking. Looking up everyone. Lose this Baron, he jumps in, and silence not blocked by Baron. So the Storm going to go on to Duckman 2K. He's going to almost fall. Mr. Jim wants to go in. He's got his jump jets. Going to go on. Simmons will fall. He's going to try and step around to kill Celeste. But there's the core collapse. There's the double for Baron. Duckman 2K just porting home. He's deciding, nah, I'm not going to be able to do anything. I'm just going to get some health, get some energy back. Duckman 2K without any weapon power defense, only a light armor, a light shield on Celeste, means that he really cannot afford to get hit by anything. If he gets stunned, he's dead. If he gets hit by core collapse, if he gets hit by healer genesis, then Baron will get a double shot and he'll die. So then, actually, everyone is respawning. So Mr. Jim's going to actually try and do as much damage as he can onto Ringo. Then the double shot. There's half Earth Ringo. He did get Atlas, so a good Atlas Pulsion popped by Margin. And against Ciao 7, just going to try and defend, but they're in a horrible position. Because Mr. Jim has got his damage, he can pick up another Tyrant when he shops, or maybe even a Tornado Trigger, which I'd like to see. To be fair, either works really well on Baron. You can get either crit item will work just as well. He's going to get the Tyrant to be infused. So this is full damage for Mr. Jim. He hasn't actually got the block. I said that he probably needs to get a block, otherwise they're fighting on Ciao 7's turns.
Yeah.
But because Mr. Jim is so far ahead, any fight is on Brenchong's terms, and they're going to be ahead, and they're going to be wanting to fight. So there is no real favourable fight for Ciao 7. The only favourable fight for them is to not fight until Ringo gets some more items. And so Mr. Jim could just get defense on Ringo, even though he's only got tier 1. That is the most effective defense item. Because in terms of gold efficiency, is to get tier 1 defense. And Mr. Jim's going to get stunned out by Ursus Pursuit. He's going to get stunned by the Ordained as well. Ironclad's going to come down, not quite going to land. Mr. Jim now he's ready to go in. He's got his jump that's available. Going to get a good damage onto Sim Monster with that critical hit. And he's going to boots jump jets to get damage on the Kraken. And Celeste is alone. Celeste's going to get stunned. And I'm talking about Celeste's going to fall immediately to the Batiste. There's some shade onto Magin. Baron's going to do what he can. Jump jets in. Duckman 2K one more shot and he'd be dead. But Mr. Jim and Magin are going to back off. That was poor positioning by Sync 1. Just caught out away from his team. Mr. Jim decided to go for the Kraken. Celeste went just up, and now Mr. Jim has picked up a reflex block, so that is good. Lots of damage by Ringo, but Baron's going to jump jets away. Almost going to fall, actually. Some damage for Batiste, and he's going to block the Hellfire through. I think it was on Margin. It was on Mr. Jim, but it splashed onto Margin. And that was a good engage from the LDC and Duckman 2K. Duckman 2K doing a lot of damage onto Baron. He has now sold his weapon power defense to get that block, so he has a bit more chance to survive. but this will be a free Kraken. Ciao 7 did not think they'd be taking it. Unless Batiste has ridiculously good Kraken steal with that Fist and Shade, no chance though with the Celeste and Baron, you're not going to steal it away from them. So that's a good decision from Brenchong. It was not expected. I don't think Ciao 7 even knew they were taking Kraken until they got told the enemy team has unleashed the Kraken.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, just look at the goal difference alone. The side of Brenchong is sitting at a comfortable 7,000 goal difference. And boys and girls out there, this is why you do not allow a Baron through. Okay, so it is the same conditions as Idris, yeah? Ooh.
Oh, Baron's going to get caught out. A lovely blast shot from Catherine. The team wasn't empowered, so he's going to fall to this double shot. Not quite. He did block it. He's going to try and outdamage Baron, but it won't happen. Bingo has fallen. Double two going to get hit by it. Solar Storm actually going to miss. And Guan is so low. One more shot until he gets that Imperial Sigil. And where's Baron? Baron's just charging down your turrets. You might get a kill on margin, but it doesn't matter. Kraken's got the first turret. Is going to get a kill, but Baron's going to get the second turret. And it's going to be hard. That Kraken is full health. Brenchong going to take this first game. Yeah, don't let Baron through.
Yeah. That is the lesson of the day, and this is the first ace of the game in favor of Ciao 7. But anyways, wow. With that very climatic ending right there, I must say, like with Idris, yeah, if you're gonna allow any of these heroes through, you must have a team comp at hand, and you must have a team comp in mind to counter the set hero you are gonna let through, whether or not Idris or Baron, because when one of the VG8 teams allowed Baron through, they already had a team comp in mind. They had that of Ozo. They basically had a structured team comp, a way to counter that Baron just by sustaining his damage. And that was why they were triumphant. And one more thing as well, with the Baron in lane, I was expecting Darkman 2K to be a little more aggressive in lane, just poking that Kraken down, just poking that Baron down and just allowing him to farm, just harassing him from head to toe. But that didn't quite happen. Baron was just allowed to farm up. Baron, and Baron just displayed the strength and the amount of damage it can output in a later part of the game. Like we said, the RDC, he should have matched the stats coming out from Baron had, they wanted any chance at all to win.
Yeah, Baron's win condition was once he got a couple of damage items, get the Tension Bow and Solar Blade, then you put pressure on Ringo, stop him farming up, stop him getting to the 4 items he needed to beat you, and that was expertly done by Baron. He went as soon as he got that damage, which I think it was quite early on. He farmed up reasonably well so that he could get the 2 damage items pretty early on in the game. And from then on, Ringo just had no chance of even contesting in the lane. He built the Solar Blade, built the Poison Shift to try and get some mortal wounds to stop the Lyra heal. Makes sense. Maybe not against the Baron, because Lyra's going to heal him up regardless, but you just need to burst him down either once you know the Imperial Sigil isn't up or through the Imperial Sigil, and you need to out-damage Baron, because even if you stop him healing that much, if you don't do the damage, he's going to kill you first. But I think the main thing was that the snowball started from Baron. It was kept up by Celeste. It didn't let the ODC farm up in the jungle too much. They made sure Celeste was even. So they didn't let Batiste farm into the jungle. And it was just a great snowball from Brenchong. They knew when to start it, and then they pushed it expertly.
Definitely, I must agree with you. I mean, Brenchong is looking like a very, very strong team coming into this challenge battles. The way, but honestly, it was really just down to allowing that Baron through, don't you think? Because, like said, if you do allow Baron to come through, then of course you must have a team comp at hand to counter that Baron. And like you said, and I was saying before, and I must sound like a broken recorder to a lot of viewers out there, and that is, if you are going to be up against a Baron with a Ringo, match him stat for stat. If he's going for that Sorrow Blade, go for that Sorrow Blade. If he's going for that Tension Bow, probably go for that Tension Bow, but then double Tyrants as well if you want. yeah, and just rely on twirling silver to just deal your attack speed. Because honestly, if you do not match him stat for stat, then he can just burst you down. Because honestly, for Ringo, yeah, like both of us do agree, Ringo has a burst as well, but it's a very sustained form of burst. That didn't make any sense at all until it applied on Ringo. Yeah,
it's burst over time, I think is the best way to put it. Because Baron's about a double shot instant burst at the start of the team fight, but Ringo's about consistent. It's not consistent damage; it's consistent burst because it is an awful lot of damage.
Mm-hmm. And that is why with Ringo, you really just have to go through and just know that what's your role. It is really just the consistent burst that you can come out if you match stat for stat with Baron. Probably build a little more health in the early game just so you can take up a lot more damage from Baron. Because honestly, like Minimizer said in that game, if he's gonna fire 2 shots at you for 400 damage, make sure it isn't half your health. So that happened, and Ringo was just taken down so early, so fast as well. I mean, there were a couple of fights kind of in favor, of Ciao 7 when, Celeste was caught out of position. But how often that really happened? I mean, even Baron's positioning in that game was pristine. He just stayed in the safety of Lyra and even Celeste.
Yeah, he did. Baron knew exactly where to be, knew exactly what to do. And I think I would be very surprised if Baron is a ban in this next game. But we are going to find out now, because without further ado, we are going to go into the draft.
We are into draft right now, and I'm not surprised. But obviously, the side of Brenchong wouldn't ban out Baron as a first pick. But I mean, with regards to how they were playing Baron in the previous game, I think they would just ban out that Idris probably in the first pick.
I thought they banned Idris as well, but they're going to ban Vox. I think that they just don't want the comfort pick of Vox to be picked up by Ciao 7. They know Ciao 7 like to play Vox, so they're just going to ban it away both games. And this leaves Baron open to be banned, most likely. And if Baron is banned, I think they're going to pick Idris. I think Brenchong know the power. Yeah, they're going to ban Idris again because Ciao 7 know that Idris is so strong that they can't let it through. And again, the Lyra, I think Brenchong, the draft, if it worked last game, draft the same this game. They're expecting a Catherine. I don't think Ciao 7 should pick Baron. I think they should pick maybe Grace, Catherine, Arden. Pick one of their captains and just ban away Baron. No, they should pick it. They're deciding that we saw how strong it was in the last game, and they're confident that Brenchong do not have a counter. I think they're going to go for something like a Black Feather Ozo sustain comp. I don't think they're going to go for Ringo because they saw how hard it was to counter Baron with that. A Glaive ban, Glaive's good against Baron. He can not lane Glaive. If you go Glaive in the jungle, he can rotate up to lane and gank Baron so often that Baron won't be able to farm up and get to his mid to late game power spike.
Yeah.
And Glaive's a smart ban, but I think Brenchong have definitely got a comp in mind, which they're going to counter this Baron with. I'd expect it to be a sustained comp with that Lyra. Ozo is a very, very likely pick. A good counter to that high sustain comp is someone like Vox. They've already banned that away. Another counter is Idris. That's been banned away. Another hero that applies mortal wounds quite well is Rona. They might ban Rona. They're going to ban Samuel. I get they just don't want to play against Samuel.
Samuel or Vox is same band as the last game. And I'm quite surprised, actually. The side of Brenchong actually did allow this variant through. So, like you said, they might have a comp in mind. They must have a comp in mind to counter this Baron. So, like you said, and we've seen Ozo does very well into this Baron. So basically, very high sustained comp that can output sustained burst, or rather burst over time. Like said Ozo, he does a very good job. Black Feather as well does decent into Baron, I must say. So Crystal Black Feather, maybe Ozo, or maybe just Weapon Black Feather, and then Ozo.
Whoa! We have not seen that hero for ages.
What is this? So
is that Flicker? I can't remember. Is that hero Flicker? Or is it? Yeah, that's definitely a Flicker. That's a Captain Flicker.
I think it's called Miko as well, no? But so we are going to see a
Brenchong were not prepared. They're going to go for their comp. They've got their Kestrel attack and comp, and they were prepared against this Baron. They're just going to say, okay, you're going to go stealth hero, we'll pick the other two. I'm pretty sure Brenchong we're expecting any old captain and
Oh, wait.
Petal makes sense. Petal's really good against Taka and Kestrel, because Petal's minions will expose you if you go invisible. They'll just keep following you and keep munching on you.
Yeah.
But the flicker is a completely unknown variable. Brenchong are not ready for this. Ciao 7 clearly are. They've clearly practiced flicker in games before, so they'll know how to play it. And it's going to be, can Brenchong survive against this flicker? Baron flicker is a combination that obviously we've never seen before, but has the potential to work extremely well, because the Kestrel has nothing to get away until she gets enough weapon power. I think it's 200 weapon power. She can't go instantly invisible. And so as soon as flicker gets on top of you, she has constant damage with her slow and her B. And so you're going to be slowed, you're going to be unable to go invisible, and Baron will just kill you really quickly.
Well, yeah, that might be one of the scenarios we might see. Or there is one thing about Flicker that can bring to the table that the other roamers cannot, and instead there's the team-wide invisibility. Mooncloak is what it's called, the ultimate of Flicker. Yeah, I think it is Mooncloak, and that allows Baron to just probably sneak into the back lines. And
you never hear the words Baron sneak in the same sentence, do you? It just doesn't work.
It doesn't. It doesn't at all, but it might work in this scenario when Baron don't have to jump jet in, but can just sneak into the back line, then jump jet into a favorable position, fire off 2 shots at Kestrel or even Taka before they even knew what happened to them. And of course, like you said, Petal, it's not seen. It's not a common hero seen, Petal. But Petal does well into Taka in the early game because of the DOT. And with Taka, you really just need to just burst down this Petal as quick as possible and ignore the minions. But I see a lot of players out there, what they do really is to concentrate on the minions, try to take the minions out. And although Petal kind of counters heroes that can go in invisibility, but one thing for Kestrel is that Glimmer Shots kind of take them down really quickly anyway. So I'm really excited to see what Ciao 7 is going to bring to the table with this rather peculiar team comp with that Baron, Flicker, and of course Petal, and of course with a more classic team comp coming out from the side of Brenchong, we have Lyra, Kestrel, and Taka. Yeah, like what would you be expecting? I mean, in the early game, I can see a lot of invades coming out from the side, preferably Ciao 7, only because of how stealthy they can be, or rather Flicker can be. And of course, Petal, if you have your B already up, then you can just jump away, jump over walls. So you are rather a mobile hero as compared to that of Taka. Taka, you can Kaku and run away, but you can't quite Kaku to engage in the early game after all, without your Etsuretsu, without the Mortal Wound. And of course, you are just relying on your Kaiten to dodge a lot of what is going to be dealt upon you. Problem with that is that there is really almost no CC, barring the slow from Baron and of course Flicker. So I'm interested to see what is going to happen between in this match itself between both of these teams.
Yeah, I think there are 2 ways to play against Petal. You either kill the minions so she does no damage, or kill the Petal and ignore the minions so that she's dead before the minions can kill you. And both ways work against different comps. You want to do different things. Killing the minions so Petal has no damage will not work against the Baron, because you're going to die to Baron if you're trying to kill Petal's minions. So the whole point of killing Petal's minions is so that she does no damage, and so then you can ignore her, focus the other one, and then come back to Petal. But in the time you're killing Petal's minions, she's going to kill you with Baron's going to kill you with basic attacks. So they have to either focus the Baron and ignore Petal with minions, or dive Petal and ignore her minions anyway. I think it would be smart for them to invade with Flicker and Petal, but Petal did get her Bramble Wound seed first instead of the trampoline. So I think it does make sense that she wants to get that trampoline before actually invading too hard. And it's gonna be really odd because no one's ready for this Flicker really. I highly doubt Brenchong were playing any games against Flicker in scrims or in any ranked matches. So the Binding Light's pretty easy to dodge. It's probably one of the least useful abilities in the game, except for maybe Glaive's ultimate. But the Binding Light B that's used now is going to be so effective, especially the Dragon Blood contract onto Sin 1. That one 2K is going to take a bit of damage. There's a lot of Bramblethorn seeds on the fold, so they cannot take out the Munions because they'll just be more spawning. And Petal's going to dive in onto Sync 1, going to keep trying to do the damage. There's a nice heal from Lyra to keep her a little bit healthy. And Baron's going to push the wave in. Petal wants to try and get some backs, and it's just going to go for them. She doesn't care that Mr. Jim is rotating down. He's going to try and get these backs. Petal has bad secure, but he's going to get the first one. Now he's going to try and steal it away. And Petal will get the second one, but will fall. There's Mr. Jim getting the second blood, actually. That was Sim Monster picking up the kill on Taka while Petal was taking the backs. So DLTC is waiting. Mr. Jim's going to try and get this tree. He's going to jump this in. And there's a Binding Light from Flicker. Going to get the boot onto Kestrel. Sim Monster's probably going to fall here. But Baron is going to try and get the kill to Mr. Jim. But he won't be able to. Jump this up now. So DLTC will be able to get away. Just barely. Actually, Brenchong are going to try and go in. As I I think we'll actually get the kill. Good boost from Lyra there with the Imperial Sigil, and lots of kills being traded over. But 3 kills going over to Brenchong, but first blood did go to Sim Monster. So the gold is pretty even. Ciao 7 obviously wanting to win the early game, but if they don't, it's not a disaster because you've got Baron. So you can just win the late game anyway. And here's Slicker going to go out, going to get that Binding Light, and the Dragon's Breath onto Mr. Jim. He's going to die so quickly. The Dragon Blood contract just to make sure that Petal could secure the kill. And that's the problem with this Kestrel in lane, is unless Margin is there to just keep a nice stopping the port home with the Binding Light. But that, if Margin is not in lane to keep Mr. Jin alive, he's just going to die so often to this Flicker. And Duck2K trying to invade, but Mr. Jim's going to rotate down to make sure that Duck2K doesn't get too much jungle, and he's going to pick up that first Treant, and the Dragon Ball contract was blocked. Baron has protected down, so the fight is going to break out. Ciao 7 just back it off until DLTC is there. Bulwark used to stop the trampoline from Petal and jump jets from Baron. Now Ciao 7 are going to back off, pick up this mid Treant, and just go and farm up again.
Well, I must say, Flicker has got surprisingly good gang potential. I mean, it has been a while since.
Extremely good.
I mean, it has been a while since we see Flicker coming out. So honestly, I do not know what to expect coming into this match at all. I mean, it's working out pretty well for the side of Ciao 7 with their constant invades. And of course, with those invades, of course, you kind of ease Baron into the later part of the game as well. Because if Baron don't have to worry about laning against another laner, if Baron don't have to worry about jungle, then definitely you can ease your laner into the later game if he can farm peacefully. And Sin Monster is doing a rather good job just taking out Taka as well in a 1v1. And honestly, and there's one thing that's good about Petal going up against Taka, yeah. There's one thing. Yeah.
Taka tried to invade Petal, but Petal just got the kill with it. Taka's now going to lose a little bit of his jungle in return. The LDC going to work towards that Soul Blade, can't quite afford it, but another 400 gold to be able to get that. See, Sim Monster going to go in onto Mr. Jim, and this double shot from the LDC isn't going to land. That Matuke just going to take farm, and the LDC back to just get the lane. Again, both teams, Ciao 7 wants to invade, they're doing it well, they've got a 500 gold lead, and it's not that much. I don't think that Matuke expected to get lots of kills, get all the backs, and we see 2 stealth heroes walking past each other there, a bit interesting. So Monster going to back away, and again, Sync 1 wants to invade into Petal, but it's risky. There's a scout trap in that bush, and you will not beat a Petal in a 1v1, especially at level 5. Matuke trying to steal that away, but Taka will Kaku and run to his own jungle. Flicker's going to walk into the bush, Majin will know, Flicker will be seen. Petal's got a Frostburn, Taka however has not picked up a full tier 3 item. It's a good time for Ciao 7 to fight, but Matuke going to go to his jungle, and DLDC going to push this way. Mr. Jim will not port home. That's a Binding Light just to make sure you can't port home. And I don't think Zimbabwe's going to stop him again now. He will get back. The Baron's going to push the wave and hopefully force Kestrel to lose a bit of CS before he ports home himself.
Well, yeah, I mean, Baron's not quite done with that tension bow yet. He is sitting on a minion's foot as well. He is definitely going for the traditional build for Baron. One thing about Kestrel going up against Baron is that your perk is really just the early game. If you cannot secure yourself a safe laning phase in the early game, then Baron's going to trump you in the later part of the game, because you, as a casual, you're just so squishy. You do not have that health, and you know, usually more often than not, as weapon casual, you have to be more in front. You have to be close to the front lines, and then you have to worry about Petal's minions just nibbling you off a bit by bit your health. And of course, the sustain that's provided by Petal's minions as well when she does her ultimate. Sorry, it's just been a while.
Spontaneous combustion.
Spontaneous, yeah.
I know. We haven't seen Petal or Flicker for so long. It looks like Ciao wants to just take this gold margin, will spot it out, and Lyra's got a pretty good steal. One shot, one kill. A little bit early, Iron Cannon's going to secure that. And no, actually Flicker gets it, because Flicker's got good gold mine secure, apparently. And so that was a... It looks like both captains are going to go for the traps in the second item. I'd be very surprised if they do anything else, because pretty much the counter to Flicker is Vision, and the counter to Taka is Vision. So whoever wins the Vision war is probably going to win the game. Expect to win onto Flicker, forcing the boots away, which is smart. Taka just expects to for boots, it's more than worth it. The ODC is going to farm up his wave, and he cannot afford a Sword Blade Tension Bow yet. It looks like he actually might go for Tyrant's Monocle second item as opposed to Tension Bow. The margin's got falling very low, just going to be able to use some Pure Sigil and back off to be okay. Ciao 7 wants to find this tackle, I think. They're not pushing the phone, they're staying in the bush. Mr. Jim going very low, jump gets in, that's going to be Baron. Since he wants going to use his kite and do a lot of damage. Nice, slow Flicker, there's the kill from Baron. He wants the second one, can't quite get in basic attack range of Margin for the ace. So he's just going to hit the turret. Margin will be able to stop this turret falling, and DC going to just farm that wave up before it reaches the turret, and Ciao 7 going to back off. Margin doing well to stay alive. One shot onto Sin Monster, good body block. The ODC probably would have fallen there, Kestrel, with quite a lot of damage. And we're going to see that DC is actually going to get Sword Blade Tyrants instead of Sword Blade Tension Bow. So this is much more damage late game, I suppose. Yeah. But I'd still expect to see Tension Bow once they start building armor.
Definitely. Tension Bow just provides so much armor pierce for its relatively cheap pricing as well. There is one thing though. I've seen some Barons, they go for Sword Blade into double Tyrants and then a breaking point. If not, then a tornado trigger, just so they can have jump jets up so very often. We might see another fight break out, because honestly, a lot of fights have been coming out from the side of C7. But it's almost as if they just not taking a lot of objectives. I mean, they took a gold mine, but that was about it.
Yeah, they couldn't get the turret, they couldn't get objectives for Tense Combustion used by Petal. So Ciao 7, they kind of want to fight, but they need Flicker to engage. There is the movement available, and there is no vision in the lane except for flares. There's no one scout trap in that moustache bush. So there is a possibility if Flicker's going to pop that immediately. Ciao 7 can use the moon cloak. Sin Monster has got that available, so that would be a really good engage. If they fight in lane when they know there aren't scout traps, then Flicker can just pop that moon cloak, and Baron will be on top of Kestrel, and then Kestrel will die immediately.
Well,
I think it's risky. Yeah, it's risky for Margin to not have vision in lane. I think it's important. Obviously, with that contraption, he's going to just put as many scout traps down as possible. But if Mr. Jim is standing anywhere where there isn't a scout trap, then he's at risk. He needs to be standing on top of scout traps pretty much the entire game from now on, or else be standing in a flare, because otherwise he's just going to get killed by the surprise attack from Flicker. It's such a big, important ultimate, especially with someone like a Baron who's slow, has trouble getting on top of someone, and Flicker's just going to pop every bit of vision that you're going to put in lane. Flicker sees it, Flicker pops it, and that's why it's so hard to play against Flicker if you don't win the early game, because you don't get that vision control, and Flicker can just keep popping all your scout traps.
Definitely, and there is one thing about although this particular lineup coming up from C7 and it's quite obvious. Ooh, gold mine might be stolen right now. Oh, but it's not.
Taka does get it, and that's going to be the Iron Cannon coming down. Margin Knock is going to fall to the Iron Cannon. So does Taka. Double kill from the RDC. And now I would very much expect Ciao 7 to get themselves a turret off this double kill, or at least get some jungle. The RDC has got that Sword Blade Tension Bow and working towards the second Sword Blade Tyrants. And that's the damage onto Mr. Jim. That's why he went for the Titan Monitor. If there's only tier 1 defense, and that's Mr. Jim gonna fall. One shot is enough. He did the double just to make sure. Didn't he? Almost gonna die. Turret shot, not quite gonna hit him in time. The one shot isn't available because Mr. Jim is dead. Taka's gonna try and chase, but once again, they got 3 kills from Ciao 7. Where are your objectives? You didn't get anything from that. You got a turret almost dead, but it's better to get the turret than get Kestrel. You get 300 gold for every member as opposed to just 200 gold for Baron.
Yeah.
I think it's not bad. Obviously, Baron now with 3 damage items. I don't think he's worried that he hasn't got objectives, but he should. He is not the best position for them to be in.
Definitely. I mean, just looking at the goal difference. Although they are sitting 8 kills, they haven't got any turret. Ooh, Flicker is caught out right now. Flicker has got mortal wound on him, but then he'll be safe. His Flicker, he's fine. And 3 kills to 8. And yeah, the goal difference is just a mere 1.2. Oh, it's just 2,000 difference. C7, they've got this really good team comp, I must say, because they have that petal for damage. And alongside damage, of course, is that sustain as well. And of course, the ultimate, it's a very big ultimate coming from Flicker if he actually uses it for any engagement, especially when, you know, the lane has got no vision whatsoever. So, and we saw the amount of damage coming up from DRDC as well. Ooh, Iron Cannon will pop.
Almost getting the turret, just barely, and then there's going to be an engagement. Looks like, imagine, no, he's going to back off with that full rock, not using the arcade passage aggressively. Duckman 2K with no more ultimate charges, no more spontaneous combustion available. Taka is going to be in that top bush. There's a scout trap in the middle of the lane, so if he does try to sneak down, Ciao 7 will be spotted. It looks like Mr. Jim, again, not going to be able to port home. This Flicker's really good at that, but there's X-Press to win. Dodging out the slow from Flicker. Pest is very low, but Baron is not. And Brenchong wants to go in. Taka's going to jump in at Xretsu, and the Fountain a little bit preemptive. Expecting the Kaizen. Taka didn't actually do that much damage. And Mr. Jim is low on energy, wants to go down to shop, and so will Baron. Once again, Flicker, you put a scout trap down, I'm going to pop it. I'm just going to walk in that bush, and I'm going to pop the other scout trap you put down. It's so hard to play against this Flicker because unless you win the early game, he's going to pop every bit of vision you try and get in lane, and so he can freely use his ultimate. And it's not wasting gold because it's a contraption for Lyra. He's not spending gold on these scout traps, but it's just wasting time really.
It is generally. Ooh, they are going for a siege. We see this battle just going in.
Wow, so much damage onto Mr. Jim with that spontaneous combustion, but a stun onto Flicker with the active camo trap. And there's X-Press onto Baron. Fountain is not available for another 10 seconds, 15 seconds for Flicker. But Duckman 2K doesn't care, he's going to go in. Lots of damage to Mr. Jim, who has almost no energy. So Mr. Jim has to back off. Iron Cannon from Baron isn't up. One shot, gonna get killed. Don't port there, you're going to get killed. Duckman 2K managed to get away, but Baron couldn't. And this will be a turret for Brenchong if they want to try and get it.
I mean, Brenchong can definitely get this turret. That was a rather big one-shot, one-kill coming out from Castro, and this is really just the difference between the team. We have C7 who has got a ton of kill, right? We have like C7 who have a lot of kill, but they are not objective focused at all. Just, you know, and that is really just gonna cost them the game in the long run. But granted, for a Flicker, you need to win him in the early game, else he'll just pop all your scout traps, pop all your vision, have you wasting your money in the early game. Then of course, in the later game, when you build your first contraption, then you stop losing money, but then it is a time that you've invested trying to, you know, ward up your plays. Anyways, we do see all 3 members from both teams in the jungle right now, and we saw Petal very strong in the early game, but he's starting to fall off.
And that's going to be Margin. Almost got out pretty easily after Passion to get away. Baron wants the time. Baron's going to get it. Who needs minions? I don't. I just do damage. As the attacker stealthing in, Xretsu on to Duckman 2K, but he's going to kite over some minions to dodge that shot from Baron. Taka has actually only got Stormcloud Aftershock for damage. Already got, and there's the Mooncloak from Flicker. Will be spotted out by the scout trap. So, not the most effective use of Mooncloak, but the banner. Duckman 2K is on the back line. That's because he was casting over the double shot from Baron. Very effective fighting attacker to dodge that damage. Margin's going to probably fall. That jump jets from Baron is up. That will be Margin falling. He used the fountain. It's not enough. Taka's going to sneaky around. We'll be able to port home. There's the scout trap. Not there. We'll be able to port home. And it looks like this will be Kraken for Ciao 7. I doubt It will be stolen. Kestrel's got a one shot, but if Ciao 7 don't body block it, then that would be very stupid.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at a team cop coming out from the side of Ciao 7. It looks hilarious, right? And you would expect very weird very weird playstyle coming out from it. But then it is working in this case, and the only reason it's working is because in the early game, Petal is so strong into this Taka because Taka has got no answer for him. And then of course, Flicker just does an excellent job depriving Castro to farm.
Yeah, Flicker can really gank in lane well, and that's going to be Margin going very low. Oh, Cannon's not quite going to land. Brenchong had already backed off, and Ciao 7 they're trying to push this Kraken in. They're going to try and get 2 turrets and back off. That's all we tend to see Krakens do when there are these. The first turret's already been taken. Except the ODC going to go in, but double shot the turret, and that is going to be Petal falling immediately to Kestrel attackers first. Atlas did land onto Baron, so they're going to get the first turret, and Baron wants second, but Flicker's going to fall. Double kill for Kestrel, and Ciao 7 are not going to be happy with that. They got 1 turret, they did not get the vital choke point turret that you want to get from a Kraken push. So that'll be gold going over to Brenchong, and Duckman 2K, without any defense on Taka, has some defense on Kestrel, just fell so quickly to the X-Wetsuit and basic attacks from Kestrel. I don't like the Bonesaw from Kestrel. You said you wanted to see it in the last game, but I think obviously Baron's got tier 1 defense. He's not going to build that in the full metal jacket. It's unlikely. He's going to get a reflex block. Petal might build a full metal jacket, but the Bonesaw works off number of basic attacks to armor shred. Kestrel doesn't do number of basic attacks. She does 1 glimmer shot, 1 basic attack, 1 glimmer shot, you're dead. You've done like 4 or 5 basic attacks and they should die immediately. The Bonesaw shred won't do anything. It's meant for someone like Vox, someone like Ringo who does lots of basic attacks, whereas Kestrel just doesn't. And you were actually, I was expecting to see a breaking point on Baron, as you said when we see Sorrowblade double Tyrant's breaking point, but that was actually built into a second Sorrowblade. So we see Sorrowblade, Tyrants, double Sorrowblade, double Tyrants on Baron. So there were 2 full metal jackets and 2 Atlases, and so the only thing he's going to do as much damage as he can. There's the expensive win onto the Petal. Atlas was on Baron. He's going to get the double shot since he won. There's no armored pierce, so there's not that much damage against this full metal jacket. There's a double star though, because they went straight into an active camera trap. Baron's falling very low. He's going to go back into Moon Cloak, and they're all going to back up. And there's a scout up there, so Kestrel's going to get killed on the Sim Monster. Nope, the boot's going to be used to get him away. And Ciao 7 going to back off under turret. I think the ODC is going to get an infusion. And no, he's going to be able to fall home, and that's a dead Petal. They know Baron's fourth, they know Baron's not there to help. They know Petal have boots up actually. Still able to run away, but Flicker hasn't got boots. 1 shot onto Flicker, secure the kill. The ODC has not quite got an infusion yet. He's going to get back into base and pick that one up. But I don't like the pure damage from the ODC. He's going to get an infusion. No, he's going to get tier 2 Kestrel defense. So maybe the Bonesaw wasn't the worst idea if Baron is going to build defense on you. But Baron should at least have a tension bow or have a Bonesaw. There's an Atlas and a full metal jacket on London. Full metal jacket on this gym. There's an Atlas on Cincy 1 and an Aegis and an infusion for weapon power defense. And the ODC hasn't even got a tension bow, which has so much as 12% arm pierce, and he's just gone full damage, which doesn't work anywhere near as well.
Yeah, definitely. I do agree with you as well. I mean, going for raw red, you must have. I mean, it will work if your ally is one of the allies is building boats. Yeah, then it might work for your case if you are going to go for full red. But then, without that armor pierce or even armor shred, you just do not do that amount of damage. And we do see DRDC. I mean, you have very hardcore red items, and yet you're not doing a lot of damage as compared to a Baron with a tension bow. So, anyways, I'm seeing. I can tell that Brenchong is going to push with this Kraken. They are not afraid to take fights at all. I mean, just look at the amount of damage from Mr. Jim on this Castro.
As the Iron Cannon coming down, budget's quite low. Flicker's going to go in, use that Fairy Dust to try and get some damage and some slows. But once again, Brenchong are going to be much happier than Ciao 7 were. They got their 2 turrets, they got the choke point turret, and they're now going to get a goodness entry because they just poked the turrets, as opposed to what Ciao 7 did when they backed off and they took the damage. They took the poke from Kestrel from Taka and didn't go for the turrets. Brenchong just went for the turrets while Ciao 7 was trying to kill Kraken. So they've got the two, and I think the LDC, it's so not worth it to sell a Sora Blade. That's so much gold that you've spent on that Sora Blade that I think he should probably sell maybe a Tyrant's for attention mode, but he should definitely get one. Brenchong waiting in the push. So Monster's going to face check it, it's fine. He's the captain, he's going to be able to be found to stay alive. While Baron is nice enough. There's the arcade passage. Atlas once again onto Baron. He's going to try and jump and gets away. He's probably go over the wall because he's going to die. He's just going to die to Kestrel actually. The Kestrel pick up the kill and Flicker's going to have to run away. He's going to die, but he's going to try and keep his petal alive. One shot, going to be picking up the kill. And Brenchong looking like they might take this second game, Luxuria.
They might. I mean, just imagine this, yeah? They just had not a good comp in the early game, but they definitely had the late game comp. I mean, if you look at it this way, Lyra might be going down very, very, very soon.
Why? Duckman 2K has got his base. He'll be fine. Takker's going to sneaky port home in a 5 position. Duckman 2K does spot him, but does not be able to stop him porting home. So Brenchong don't win the game there, which I'm sure they wanted to do. They tried to kill. They split focus. One tried to kill Petal. One tried to kill the turret. They ended up killing no one. So Ciao 7 have their chance to come back. One ace, and Ciao 7 will win the game. They can take 3 turrets and evade ridiculously quickly. Baron, the build he's got means that he will take the Vayne quicker than any other hero I've ever seen, because the Vayne hasn't got defense. The Vayne is just exposed. So no, he has built the Bone Saw. That one item, Sora Blade being sold for Bone Saw, might turn the next fight in Ciao 7's favor.
It might actually turn the fight. And there is one thing that we must realize, and how objective focus as compared to C7 Brenchong is. And it's because of this, just looking at the goal difference. The goal difference was in favor of the side of Ciao 7. Ciao 7 was sitting at a rocky...
It's going to be used, and they're going to go indefinitely. Going to use that double shot, and now it's going to go into C1. Lots of damage. The Bone Saw is shredding armor quite a lot. So Ciao 7 really wants to go, and they want to dive a bit further. Double shot, almost going to kill C1. And Bone Saw has now worn off. The ODC is very low. Fountain was used. Kraken is now reset, so no team is going to have that objective taken. And there's good vision by Martin, so he's going to actually troll out Sim Monster with the arcade passage, but they're going to back off to their sentry. Ciao 7 able to back away. There's still 2 scout traps in the jungle around Kraken for Brenchong, so the Moon Cloak Flicker, which is available in 5 seconds, will not go unseen. Flicker's going to try and bait out the Kestrel to stun Flicker instead of stunning the ODC. The ODC is going to be swept up by that camo. Don't go in that bush. There's a scout trap there. The ODC is going to fall. Wartread's too late from Sim Monster. I think his flare didn't get the scout trap that was that Brenchong could put down. This will be a Kraken easily going over to Tacker. And once again, the argument match is up already again, so that Machuga is going to be tightened by Tacker. He's got 3 Munions, has got a couple of spontaneous combustion charges, and it's going to use them to try and stay alive. One shot is going to hit, but they don't care. Actually, the turret did fall for Ciao 7, but that'll be of little help, because I'm pretty sure Brenchong will get the Vayne before the minions get the turret. That will be game 2 going to Brenchong. Baron a little bit caught out there.
Well, this is game 2 going in favor of Brenchong, and I must say it was down to the macro play. A lot of it, we saw how Brenchong wants to snowball the game. Although they are at the back, they knew their team comp well. Yeah, they knew they couldn't hard engage. They knew vision was important. Contraption was built second item immediately after Fountain, and then they knew they needed Tacker to just be in the front line, just be like a pest, just going in for Darkman 2K on that petal. And of course, Mr. Jim, I must commend him on the Metal Jacket pickup, and of course the Bone Saw as well. Granted, the Bone Saw did not do much because you cannot shred a lot of the armor, but it's one thing that's for sure, and that is when you are taking objectives. Bone Saw comes into the play, and it's quite a big item as well. DLDC did sell 1 Sora Blade for Bone Saw, but at a point in time, I'd rather he get a Tornado Trigger, since he cannot stay in a fight for a very long time. And in fact, it's not that he cannot stay in a fight for a very long time. It is more like he's always off in positioning wise. So it was down to execution, and we saw Darkman 2K on this battle as well. he kind of lost damage in the later game. In the later game, she didn't seem to have much impact anymore. Her healing, her sustain from spontaneous combustion was just almost nothing, close to nothing. And even when Dark Mantuke uses it as a form of ultimate for damage, even then it didn't deal a lot of damage. The bulk of the damage was from DRDC on this Baron, but the side of Brenchong just knew how to deal with it, stick with it, tanked up the damage, and then return in tenfolds and ultimately ending the game.
Yeah, I think it was mainly that Baron couldn't build a full metal jacket because he had to sell his Soul Blade to get armor pierce and armor shred on the bone saw. I think if Baron hadn't have built that bone saw, they wouldn't have even got close in that team fight. You saw full metal jackets all around except Taka, who just built an Atlas, which was fair enough because Taka's going to almost guarantee to get that Atlas off. And I just think it was slightly poor itemization from Baron. If he'd have built Tension Bow or Bone Saw straight away, then he would have been able to get a full metal jacket and maybe survive. But also, he just, as you said, he got caught out. Poor positioning. There was a scout trap in the bush, which I think Flicker fled the bush, but it didn't quite catch the scout trap. So Baron didn't know to pop that, didn't know it was in there. And it was well played from Lyra to make sure the vision control was for Brenchong, even though they didn't beat Flicker in the early game, so Flicker could pop a lot of the vision. Once it got to late game, they did win most of the team fights. So then Flicker couldn't catch them out, couldn't surprise them with the Mooncloak. And yeah, once you find Baron and Kestrel can get on top of him, he was going to fall very quickly.
Definitely. I must agree with you. All your points are really valid. And there is one more thing. I don't know, like selling Sorrow Blade for another Bone Saw, it is always not recommended because you just lose out on a lot of money then. Granted, it is very late into the game. Anyways, draft is ready. I'm sure the players are ready. So without further ado, let's go into the draft.
The draft begins.
Draft Brenchong obviously taking the first 2 games. So if they do win this game, then Brenchong will be in the Vainglory 8 for Split 2. So it's a very important game for them. I'm sure they'll be excited to play it. We see it just ban. We're going to see Vox ban. We're going to see Lyra pick or Baron pick. It looks like the teams want to draft almost identically in both games. I'd be very surprised if anything other than Vox is banned, given that Brenchong managed to counter the Baron last game.
Yeah.
And so I don't think they'll need to ban it away.
Well, yeah, definitely. I must agree with you. But then, of course, this particular ban, or rather this particular draft, might look in favor for the side of the side of Brenchong, because we saw whoever that's on the red team generally do pick up that Baron first. So it was in the last game it was C7 that picked it up, and of course in this game. But then again, there is one thing though. If they do pick up that Baron, or they do not ban out that Baron, then Ciao 7 might have a go at the Baron again. And the only reason it kind of fell off in the later game was because there was no peel for Baron, firstly, and then there was a Taka who can consistently ignore all the Munins, jump on top of you, cause you to have mortal wound, and then of course there's a Castro at the back in the safety of the Bright Bulwark. If not, then Imperial Sigil just poking you down. And at the end of the game, in the later part of the game, Petal's Munins just did not work out at all, because whenever Petal just wants to get close, wants to use her Munins for damage, then what happens is that Castro just takes them down one by one. If not, then I just see a splatter of 2 gold for Castro anyways. So we are going to see that Idris being banned out. And of course, like you said, I'm not surprised if we do see a Vox being banned out, like the classic ban that the side of Brenchong has been showing so far.
Yeah, they're likely to pick up Lyra, because we've seen, obviously we haven't seen much Grace. Maybe the teams aren't comfortable on her. Maybe they don't think she's that strong, so they don't want to pick Grace, even though the Divine Intervention heal is the strongest, it's the largest heal in the game. That Lyra has much more utility with the Bright Bulwark and obviously with the more often heal. And we saw in that game with Lyra building a contraption and quite a bit of cooldown, the Arcane Passage was up quite a lot, and it's quite a game-changing ultimate as well. Because if you can Arcane Passage your team in, especially against someone like a Baron, you force him to jump jets away, and then maybe he'll waste his double shot on the Lyra instead of on the Kestrel. And yeah, Vox ban, I'd be surprised if it's anything other than Lyra or Catherine here.
Yeah, I'm not surprised as well. But But the side of C7, they might just settle for that Baron again. Oh, they are going to go for Glaive, a very reliable check into Baron. So maybe they will not want the Baron this game, or Baron might go into as a hero that's banned out in the second phase of ban. So that might happen as well. But Brenchong played Baron to an outstanding effort in the first game as well, when Baron was led through to them. And honestly, I just want to see them play Baron again. With all the heroes being banned out currently. So we do see an Idris, we do see a Fox. I'm not surprised if Brenchong wants to ban out that Baron. It does get banned out. I mean, granted, they have a counter to Baron. Problem is that it's not reliable at all. It was they relied on Baron's mispositioning and poor plays to counter the Baron, but they're not the hero itself.
Yeah, Glaive's a good flex pick. You can play him either captain, jungle, or lane, and weapon or crystal. So you're not giving away your comp at all. And he's also, as you said, a good Baron counter. He's a good Idris counter as well if you go lane Glaive, but Idris is already banned, so that's not a problem. I think Samuel might be picked up by Brenchong here. They've liked to ban it away. And this game, obviously, they haven't banned. They banned the Baron instead. So it's likely they're going to pick up Samuel. Glaive is good against Samuel. But if you go for a Glaive-Samuel comp together, that's really hard to beat. Because if you try and dive Samuel, Glaive after burns you away. If you go maybe a Captain Glaive. Or if they go a Weapon Glaive, then you'll just do lots of damage. They're going to go Black Feather instead. I think that's assuming a lane Glaive. Black Feather's really good against, quite good against lane Glaive. And he can do well against most ranged carries like a Ringo or a Gwen. We've seen most of the carries have been banned. Baron, Fox, Idris have all been banned away. So, but Black Feather's quite good against Ringo, and he's all right against Glaive. So I think they're expecting a lane Glaive, and with that Catherine, I expected jungle Sky, so it's not picked against you.
Well, yeah, I mean, Sky is almost definite. I mean, Sync1 plays a very good Sky, or rather used to play a very good Sky. He's still rather good in Sky, but it hasn't been coming out quite a lot. And of course, to round out the composition coming out from the side of Ciao 7, we do see that Scarf. And I think Scarf, if you land your goop, your Spitfire, and you're pretty on point with it, I think you can be a reliable counter into Sky when the fight gets a little too hectic. Yeah. I mean, we saw a few times when Sky is trying to advance, then if you land a Spitfire, you land your goop, you kind of stun her advancement, her mobility for a little, and you can't even burst it down because Sky's generally do not build early defenses. They want to get their Frostburn, their Eve, their Broken Myth, and some Skies even go for 4 blue, and the last blue would be that of Clockwork. So honestly, I like the team comp coming out from Ciao 7, but overall, I think the more balanced team comp is really just the one coming out from Brenchong. And I'm sure with their performance so far, they can definitely do and execute the team comp really well.
Yeah, I think the Sky to counter Catherine was pretty much they decided that before they saw Scarf.
Yeah.
And once the Scarf was picked, it's like, Sky, yeah, Sky's all right against Scarf. We can do this. The Sky Black Feather competition is really good. They have good synergy together. Black Feather is good at diving in and can also poke with his on point for quite a bit. And Sky obviously is really good at poking. Not as good as Scarf is, but way better than Glaive is. And if you want to dive in, Sky is also fantastic at that. You Sui Strike behind them, they can't back away. There's a Lyra on your side, a Sky on their side, and they're stuck. And if you play Sky well, she's one of the heroes where you can really win the fight just with your positioning. So it's going to be all about where that Sky positions. She can dodge a lot of the Spitfires just with that movement speed boost you get with her lock on her perk. Then again, when she's in her forward barrage, she's locked in that animation. You're pretty much you can move wherever you want, but you're much slower than when you have your lock on speed boost. So Scarf should be able to land most of the Spitfires while Sky is using her forward barrage.
Well, that one thing as well, as well as when Black Feather does go in, I suppose this would be a weapon Black Feather. So if it needs be, if a need comes up, arises, the Black Feather has to jump into really deep for that Scarf because Scarf is just playing a really, really safe one. then of course there is always, you know, the back thought that Lyra will be there with the Imperial Sigil just to help you that little bit more, just for your sustain. And we've seen a lot of Black Feathers so far, and a lot of Black Feathers out there has been going for the sustain build. Usually that poison shift, if in lane, just for the extra sustain in lane. If not, then the Sora Blade in poison shift and possibly breaking point as a Black Feather. I've even seen Tangent Bow on some Black Feathers as well. But then honestly, I just really like the team coming out from the side of Brenchong. It's just that they have, you know, sustain. And so far we've seen whichever team that has got the Lyra has got a higher chance of winning after all. They have that Lyra for sustain. And when Black Feather goes in and dives in really, really deep, Lyra is so valuable because of Imperial Sigil. And if Glaive does decide to afterburn in, whether for that Sky, whether for Black Feather, there is always, you know, the safety cushion of a Bright Bulwark as well. So honestly, it's just so much more balanced, the team coming out from the side of Brenchong as compared to C7. But again, I do see the pros coming out from C7 as well. They have a very reliable stun, they have Merciless Pursuit, they have Blast Tremor, the Mass Silence, just cast team-wide silence. And of course, they have got a lot of AoE poke. And so that is always one thing that's very valuable in the game as well, AoE poke, because a lot of the meta has kind of shifted into dive into just poke in general, and we've been seeing a lot today as well. A lot of people, a lot of players have been prioritizing on the Samuel, if not then Celeste, and even Scarf as well. So, you know, the meta in Southeast Asia kind of have transferred into this poke meta. So, you know, if poke-wise, Scarf definitely does a better job at it. So it's just down to how the players are going to execute the team comp. But then for yourself, who do you think will come out on top based on what you're seeing at this point in time?
Mudge is actually going to go very low. He's going to have to boost away. No, use the Imperial Sigil speed boost to get away. And Dr. 2K doing good aggression. I think the Sky Black Feather comp will work really well together. But then again, if Glaive manages to afterburn correct, if like Glaive can afterburn on top of the Scarf Goop, whoever he gets, be it Mr. Jim or Since He Won, is probably going to fall, because that's the combo. All they have to do, first pursuit into after. Actually, Sim is going to go down. So Sim Monster actually tanks the turret using the Merciless Pursuit onto Black Feather, because as a captain, you generally want to be the tank of your team. But Sim Monster was actually the lowest hero of Ciao 7. Glaive or Scarf probably could have tanked the turret much better than Catherine could. The Black Feather manages to pick up the kill with another turret shot. Black Feather manages to secure the first blood. So that's a slight gold lead going over to Mr. Jim, even though he did die to the CC combination from Ciao 7. And that combo will be their win condition. Merciless Pursuit into Goop into Afterburn. That's all they have to do, really.
Well, yeah, but then again, that is just a single target elimination. If they're going to miss, because in the later part of the game, when Mr. Jim has got access to a Rose Offensive, when Sig 1 has got Suri Strike on Overdrive, or even just Death from Above as well, that Death from Above is a very good zoning ability. And then with Suri Strike as well on Sig 1, he can just go all over the place, and whether or not you'll be able to catch the team of Brenchong out is another topic in altogether. And of course, you are just doing a single target elimination. Who are you going to prioritize in the later part of the game? Would it be Sync 1 on that Sky, who can, by the way, poke down Sin Monster if Sin Monster ever tries to even advance, even with Stormguard on? So, you know, honestly, it will be a rocky early game for both of these teams, I'm sure. I mean, they are looking rather even at this point in time. And you know, it's just down to late game whether or not they can pull off the strat, whether or not they can, they understand what they're doing. But there is one thing that's going for Mr. Jim on this Black Feather, or on the side of Brenchong, is that the fact that Bright Bulwark is constantly available on Lyra as well. I mean, it's 10 to 14 seconds, but Bright Bulwark stops a lot of engagement coming out from C7.
But the problem is margin going very low, because Scarf has that goop slow, really significant slow, that if you don't ignite the goop, you're going to, whoever you goop, stuck on the goop will be stuck there for a very long time. So unless it's Blackfeather who uses Rose Offensive or Sky who Sui Strikes away, then to be fair though, they both got those abilities quite soon. Sky obviously just needs target lock on anyone, and she can get out of the goop before Scarf manages to ignite it. But Blackfeather doesn't just want to Rose Offensive just to get out of a goop, because he wants to save that for the Merciless Pursuit or for the Afterburn from Glaive. So I think it might make sense to focus Sync 1, because then if they manage to get Sync 1 stunned up, maybe they wait as soon as they see Sui Strike is used, then Glaive boots in, gets the Afterburn, followed up by a goop and stun from Sim Monster. Then if Sync 1's already used Sui Strike, then they know it's not available again, unlike Blackfeather, who has 2 charges of his Rose Offensive.
Well, yeah, I must agree with you. I mean, Sync 1 would be a priority target, because Sync 1 can just take down your front liner, Catherine or not. Ooh.
Afterbird was actually stopped by the White Bulwark. The Sky is going very low, have to Sui Strike away. Bulwark's going to try and pick up Simons, going to boots away. Alden's not there. Mr. Jim's going to get the kill, but he's going to die to this scoop. He's just standing on it. He doesn't know which way to turn. And Mr. Jim will trade his life for Sim Monster. He dived very deep to get the Catherine. It was probably worth it. But then he went back to get out the goop, then went forward, then went back again, and then he just died. Because if you're standing in that goop, you're going to take a lot of damage from Scarf. And Sync 1 going to take Scarf front, not going to go too aggressive. Scarf has actually picked up a Frostburn. I'd expect Shatterglass from Sky, but no, she's going to go Frostburn first. It works against this Glaive. If Glaive afterburns you not in the best position, will be unable to catch you with that Frostburn. So it's a good idea, but I think she didn't need that, because Glaive it's really hard for Glaive to catch up to anyone, even without the Frostburn. Sky just wants to make sure that she'll be able to kite around, even if Glaive is boots.
So we do see Serpent's Mask being picked up on Mr. Jim on this Blackfeather. So I suppose Mr. Jim on this Blackfeather would be going for the high sustain build. Ooh, Bright Bulwark is being used. That 2K is getting really low. Fountain is popped.
Yeah, Sim wants to use the Fountain to keep that 2K healthy. Margin has still got it available, so it's a good fight for Brenchong, but not if Mr. Jim just gets bursted down immediately. There's the Afterbird going to pick up 6-1, and the Dragon's Breath going to probably pick up a kill or a double. No, Glaive got the first kill, and that 2K with a great Dragon's Breath, he saw all of them low, and so channeled that Dragon's Breath, and they got 2 kills. Sync 1 and Mr. Jim, both without any defense on Scarf, are going to go very low to that Dragon's Breath.
Well, yeah.
And I think it was Mr. Jim was just kind of caught out. He was in the goop, and then he went very low. Glaive afterburned Sky, because even though it made more sense, you see Blackfeather's basically there, let's just afterburn him. Instead of doing that and securing 1 kill, he afterburned the Sky, knowing that if they got them both low, the Dragon's Breath could secure 2 kills. So it was very well played from the RDC on this Glaive.
Well, if Blackfeather, if Blackfeather actually did go into very deep into the side of C7, then I'm sure Darkman 2K would go down. But then the side of C7, what's going on for them is that they have a very reliable peel from Catherine and that of Glaive as well. Problem is that if they do actually commit the same mistake as they did in the previous matchup, then Brenchong would definitely have the late game advantage. C7 needs to learn to push whenever they get the slightest of opportunity. They are going to look for another fight. Pokes are just being exchanged. Spitfire is just taking Majin really, really low.
Yeah, they're going to go. Mr. Jim's going to get afterburned into that goop. He's going to most offensive to try and get away. Dragon's Breath was stunned out by the Death Bump from the Sky. That was a fantastic Death Bump to stop the Scarf from her Dragon's Breath. And Margin is using the Bulwark up very preemptively. When he sees the goop, he's going to put it out. 61 is going to get low. There we go. See the White Bulwark. As soon as Scarf uses goop, Margin puts the White Bulwark down to stop the afterburn from Glaive. But right now, the ODC is far too low on energy to get that afterburn off. The Brenchong could go for the turret, but instead they're going to go for the Glaive. It's going to get very low. It's going to be a most offensive, very aggressive from Mr. Jim. He's going to get the kill. Since one's going to probably get Catherine. Not quite. Lyra's going to portal for it. Will pick up the kill, but will die to this turret. But he will leave Cincy One alive. And that is a 2-for-2 trade. Brenchong going to be a little bit disappointed. They probably could have got a much cleaner couple of kills there if they'd have maybe juggled turret aggro slightly more efficiently. But they won't be too disappointed. The gold lead is only about 300 gold in favour of Ciao 7.
Well, yeah, definitely. I think there was a miscommunication coming out from the side of Brenchong because, like you said, if they juggled the turret aggression equally amongst them, they could have had a cleaner 2 kills. So honestly, though, the side of Brenchong, I must say, they commit very little mistakes, but then if they do, it's always very major one like this. I mean, if any teams knows how to capitalize on mistakes very well, Brenchong would have probably lost a turret by now. I mean, if you think about it, yeah, Brenchong usually do not commit a lot of mistakes, but then if they do, it is always rather major ones. And as for the side of C7, what we are seeing now is that they are not committed to taking any objectives whatsoever. I mean, gold mine is important for them. They've been taking gold mines, but not a lot of turrets at least.
Definitely bumps the zone out. The ODC gets for barrage for a bit of poke. And Sync1 is just going to try and get some, get in a good position to get a good forward barrage onto Simonster. In fact, any members of Ciao 7, if he gets it onto Catherine, he'll probably force a bounce in. If she wants to go over, that's the first pursuit. And right ball walk, again, use preemptive margin just to make sure Glaive can't afterburn when Catherine's gone in. And now they could go in. There's the afterburn available. Silence from the blast chamber. That's going to pick out Lyra. They're going to get the kill. Not quite. Mounted by Lyra. It's going to have to patch it off before she dies. Blackbird trades the kill onto Glaive. Mr. Jim is very healthy. He's going to get the double. And Brenchong, what they're going to do? They're going to go for the kill. Sky Sui striking the most offensive. They're going to get the ace. That is kill. Not quite sure kill for Blackfeather. Sky actually stealing that one away. And that will be the ace and the turret for Brenchong. They didn't know quite what to do. There weren't minions, so they couldn't get a turret without killing Scarf.
Yeah.
So they just went, dive the turret, we can kill the Scarf, we can get this turret, and that will be a nice gold lead for us.
That will be, I mean, instantly from a 300 gold in favor of C7. Now we do see a 2.5 gold lead for the side of Brenchong, just picking up that 2 kills, that ace actually, and that turret. So, you know, very well played coming out from the side of Brenchong. And like I said, Brenchong knows how to capitalize on every advantage you give them. And that is what that makes them coming, that's allowing them to come out on top for all of this matches.
And W2K is going to do a lot of poke onto margin. He's going to use that pistol to keep himself healthy. And Simmons is going to basically fall. Going to use the fountain, but it won't be enough. Blackfeather's going to pick up that first kill. Blackfeather's going to get the fountain, going to dodge the goop with the fate apart. Will he be able to dodge the afterburn? Yes, he will block it up with the crucible. W2K is very low. There's Sui strike from the sky to pick up the kill. And the right ball walk after the arcade match from Lara. DODC is going to fall. Double for Sky. Another ace back to back for Brenchong. They could either get a turret and gold mine or push the second turret a bit low. Probably just going to get this turret back off, and maybe they could try and get a gold mine here because they take it reasonably quickly and they know that Ciao 7 do not want to fight. And yeah, they're going to get the gold mine. Instead of pushing that second turret for damage, they're going to get the extra gold lead. And they're in such a good position. Blackfeather's just surviving. And this time, we generally see Blackfeather building a sustain build, but he still dies. This time he's got the damage, he's got Serpent's Mask breaking point, and importantly, light shield and Atlas, so light armor and Atlas, and a full Aegis. So he's got a lot of defense to synergize with the Serpent's Mask. Because in the previous games, Blackfeather didn't have the gold, didn't have the money to build defense along with the sustain items, so he just died. But now he's got the defense, double defense, and he's in a great position.
Yeah, I'm not surprised if Mr. Jim on this Blackfeather may look into building another armor, but then that is highly unlikely because I prefer Blackfeather with 3 tiers of attack item. Ooh, Bright Ball.
We're going to go in. Okay, passage from Bright Ball. Mr. Jim's going to dive in onto the 2K. Going to vote offensive to try and dodge the Spitfire. It's going to go very well. He's got the 5 stacks. 1 base attack will finish him off. Now he's going to go onto the Glaive. David's managed to afterburn away. Sword Barge from Sky, 4 Barge from Sky, easily picking up the kill onto Sim Monster. And the ODC 1 shot from Sky will be enough. Fantastic play from Sig1 on this Sky. Sui strike to pick up the Catherine, immediately 4 Barge onto the Glaive through the reflex block. 1 basic to finish off the kill. The gold mine's not worth taking. Might as well just take a gold mine. There's about a 6k gold lead for Brenchong at the moment, up to 7k with that turret. And they're going to be very happy. They probably want to shop because they've got about 6k in the bag, Brenchong, and lovely full walk to stop the afterburn from Glaive. Brenchong really don't want to fight because they've got each got 1,500 gold. And so those three, the gold lead they've got is pretty much negated because they haven't shopped, whereas Ciao 7 have. So now they are going to back off. That's smart. They don't want to fight when they've all got loads of gold to spend.
Well, yeah, they are going to go for that Crystal Sentry. I mean, we saw Sin Monster, and why do we commonly and oftenly say that Sky is such a reliable counter into that of Catherine? It's as we saw. I mean, Sin Monster was just taking so much damage from Fort Barrage, even with Stormguard on. And Fort Barrage hasn't quite reached his peak yet for, they are flanking him from the back.
Mr. wants to go in, there's a stun, let's suit onto Mr. but he's going to go straight for Duck the 2k. He doesn't even care, Sky's going to go onto him, he's taking quite a lot of damage to himself. Sky's going low, Mr. Jim's full health, going to get the kill on Scarf, and Mr. Jim is just going ham onto Sin Monster. There's the Pibble Stormguard for another couple of seconds. He'll get the kill with the Fade of Heart. Sky picking up the glaive. Another ace for Brenchong. That's their 4th ace, I do believe, and this will be Kraken spawning. Brenchong just not going to push turrets. Their timers aren't that long. They're just going to get the Kraken and try and push to win from there.
Well, yeah, this is the 4th ace going over to the side of Brenchong, and I must say, coming from the Challenger Series, they are looking like a very, very strong team. I mean, ooh, okay, so that has happened. That hasn't. I haven't quite seen that for a while now. Ciao 7 actually did surrender 15 minutes and 28 seconds into game. So the 3rd game goes to the side of Brenchong. Yeah. I mean, in the early game, it was kind of even. And then Brenchong finally found their footing. They worked around it and then realized that, you know, they need Mr. Jim on this Black Feather dive in deep into Darkman 2K, building defense, like stacking defense, and of course just going for the basic serpents into breaking point just to stack up, you know, the stacks and then just deal a lot of damage.